Chess YouTube, if you can learn this one chess secret, your online rating in chess will absolutely explode. And it doesn't matter what openings you play, it doesn't matter how old you are, where you're from, what your playstyle is. This one strategy is literally the key to reaching whatever goals you have for your online chess journey. Now, what is this strategy? What is the idea? It's very simple. Every time you make a move in chess, you must have a simple thought process that you use to find the best moves. And the key is to have the best thought process that gives the best results every single time. And in this video, I'm going to show you the best one that I found for me and all of my students. Now, in this game, again, openings don't matter. It works for any opening. But in the game, I open 1d4, black goes knight f6, and then 2c4, sort of a queen's gambit style opening here from me. Now, black goes e6, we have knight f3, and then bishop e4. Now, the strategy here, it's very simple. I call it attack or develop, and it's a two-part system. The first thing you do whenever the opponent makes a move is you ask yourself, does the opponent have a threat? Is there a check on me? Is there a threat? Is he capturing something? Is there some sort of threat I have to respond to? Now, in this position, the answer is yes. Obviously, black here is attacking the king. Therefore, I must make a move like knight c3 or knight d2 or bishop d2 to block the attack of the bishop. In the game, I do go knight bd2, blocking with the knights, black castles. And now here I play the move a3, trying to drive back this piece. Black takes, and I take back with the queen. Now, let's start around here. Now, this is a two-part system. The first thing we do, always, when it's our move, is ask ourselves, does the opponent have a threat? If they do, we respond to the threat. If they don't, then it becomes much easier, and we simply ask ourselves, attack or develop. It's very simple. If we have a good attacking idea, we play it and we attack. If we don't have a good attacking idea, then your number one priority is simply developing and bringing out more pieces into the game. So let's see how it works. From here, black goes d5, a standard idea, sort of a queen's gambit decline style move. And the first thing we say is, what is the opponent's threat? What is black threatening here? Well, it's simple. Black here is threatening taking on c4 with the pawn. Therefore, how do I want to respond? Do I gambit the pawn? Do I defend it? What's the idea? Well, I could go, for example, b3, or take on d5, or I could gambit with, say, g3, but in the game, I play maybe the simplest idea, simply e3, which is a multi-purpose idea. First of all, defending c4 with the bishop, but also setting up bishop d3, a logical square for the bishop, and then castles. So sort of a defensive developing idea with the pawn move. From here, black goes bishop d7. What is the idea behind that? Does black have a threat here? Well, black may be intending, for example, bishop to c6 or a4. It can't go to b5 right now, as that's a blocked square, but certainly c6 or a4 are on the agenda for black. But those moves aren't that dangerous. There's no real urgency there. There's no real danger. Therefore, here as white, do I have an attacking idea? Is there any sort of attacking idea I could play? Well, I could take on d5, but it's not that dangerous. I could go c5, but that's not dangerous either. I could go for the alpha zero idea of perhaps h4, h5, which, believe it or not, is sort of a playable idea here, but, you know, these ideas aren't that strong for white, to be honest. So instead, I simply go back to the other idea of developing. Now, if I had to develop right here, what is the best developing idea? To me, bishop d3 is by far the most logical idea. It's the best square for the piece, so that's what I played in the game. Now, black here takes on c4. What is the opponent's threat? Obviously, capturing on d3. Therefore, I must respond to the threat, and I take on c4, like this. Now, black, bishop c6. Okay, what is the opponent's threat? In this case, the threat is taking on f3, doubling my pawns. For example, if like a4, bishop takes, g takes, and suddenly my pawns here are doubled. Now, is that a threat? Well, yes, but is it dangerous? The answer is not necessarily. The open G file here could be kind of strong for me. For example, I could go perhaps rook to G1 or H4, H5, H6, or bishop to D3 and queen C2 and line up some threats, which this could be pretty strong for me. I might castle queenside and so on. So here I see the threat. Black here is threatening capturing on F3, but I don't view it as being that dangerous. So instead, I simply continue with my plans. Now here, I could do many things. For example, queen to c2 and bishop d2 and so on. But instead, I go b4, gaining space on the queen side, threatening b5, which really would be pretty good for me. Now, black here goes b5. What is the threat? Well, black here threatening the bishop. Therefore, I must respond. I go bishop d3, retreating. And black here plays the move queen to d5. What is the idea behind that? Well, black here is setting up a battery of the bishop and the queen, which if I were to say castle and then go knight g5 like this for some reason, that would be mate on the spot. So that is the threat. It's not that strong of a threat, as after all, my king isn't even castled yet, but that is sort of the idea. Plus also clamping down on the e4 square in general, stopping e4 ideas from me. Now here, what should I do? Well, there's no immediate danger. Therefore, attack or develop. Do I have a good attacking idea? That's the first question. The answer is, well, not really. I can't really go e4. There's no sacrifice. b5 is covered. There's not much else I can do. Perhaps knight to c6, but that drops g2 and the rook's attack. So overall, I don't see any good attacking ideas for white. So instead, I simply develop. Now, how should I develop? Well, I could castle. It's one idea. But again, the king on the king side right now looks a little bit precarious. So instead, I play the move bishop b2, setting up rook c1, pressuring on the c file, which to me makes a lot of sense. Now, black here, knight e4. What is the threat? Again, first step in our thought process. First of all, what is the threat? If there is one, respond. If there isn't, attack or develop. So the threat here, obviously, is the attack on the queen on d2. I must respond. So I played the move queen c2, sliding over, pressuring e4, pressuring h7, and so on, which to me makes a lot of sense. Also, c6 in certain lines. Now, black here plays the move f6. What is the idea behind that? Now, I'm going to be honest, this move right here doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I guess the idea is guarding e5, stopping knight e5 ideas, but it weakens so many squares, especially e6 and g6. So white, in response, can kind of do whatever he wants. Now, what are the ideas here for white? Again, attack or develop. If I had to attack here, maybe I would go... It's hard to find a good idea. Maybe h4, the alpha 0 idea, intending h5, which with this pawn on f6 actually makes a little bit of sense, threatening h6. So that's one idea. But beyond that, there aren't really that many good attacking ideas. I could castle. I could go rook c1. I could long castle. All valid ideas. In the game, I do go rook c1, which to me makes the most sense overall. I mean, castling kingside here doesn't look very safe yet, and this is perhaps the most logical, obvious move, at least to me in my amateur mind here. So, rook c1 played in the game. Now, black plays the move a5. So, what is black's idea? It's very simple here. The threat is capturing on b4, opening the a file, and then perhaps say rook to a2, pressuring on a2, pinning the bishop, and so on, which would be at least a little bit annoying. So, how should I deal with that threat? I could ignore it. It's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal either. So here I try to find some way to relieve the pressure. And it turns out here, taking on a5 immediately and keeping the queens on the board is the correct response, which I did not play in the game. Instead, in the game, I take on e4 like this, and I thought this was good for me in the game, but it turns out it wasn't. C'est la vie, things happen. I take on e4, black takes, I take, black takes, and from here, the move is b takes a5. Again, I'm trying to keep the a file closed, at least for right now, and I thought I was at least a little better here, as after all, I pressure on c7, and I may be up a pawn, potentially, but black found some good resources. Here, black plays the move knight c6, blocking the attack. All right, what is the threat? Of course, the pawn on a5, it's being attacked twice. Sooner or later, the pawn will be lost. There's not that much I can do about it. So with that in mind, what are my options? I can attack or develop, which, believe it or not, almost always leads to a good move or the best move. So here, I could castle. I could go king d2 or king d2. Or I can play the move I played in the game, and that is the move knight d2, attacking the bishop and seemingly giving up g2, but I did have an idea in mind here. If black took, my idea was rook g1, pressuring the bishop, and if the bishop ever left this diagonal, the knight on c6 would fall. Now, the lines here are a little bit messy. It turns out black here is actually kind of okay, which I was surprised by, but that's what the computer shows after the game. For example, taking on g2, knight by rook g1, then bishop d5, and then e4. And here I thought I would be better, but black has the resource bishop c4, which I missed. And it turns out black is sort of fine here-ish. Sort of. Now, instead, in the game, black here takes on a5. All right, what is the threat behind this move? And you don't have to be a stable chess genius right now to see the flaw with this move. There really is no threat, and black here gives up the bishop on the e4 square. Despite being a 2450 chess bot, I mean, the chess bot here is just malfunctioning, losing a piece. And I'm going to be honest, at the 2000 ELO level that I play at online, at 2000 ELO, both myself and my opponent, we are making mistakes left and right like this. Now, they're usually a little more complicated than this, but to be honest, there are tactical mistakes everywhere in our games. So, you know, this sort of thing isn't that uncommon at my level around 2000 ELO. So keep that in mind. Here, I take on a4, knight takes, black goes knight c4, pressuring the bishop, and this is a little bit annoying if I'm being honest. If I go to say, I don't know, a1 or c3, I lose the pawn. If I defend, I still lose the pawn. I'm not really liking this. So here I play more of a practical choice, and I trade on c4 with my rook. The idea being, if I do this, I preserve this pawn. I can go king d2, rook c1, and so on, and I kind of like the feel of that, even though it's not exactly the strongest move here. So, in the game, I take on c4, black takes, king d2, intending simply rook c1 on the next move. Again, trying to develop and attack on c4 as fast as I can. So, I hope I'm showing you the idea that in chess, almost every move, when you're not being threatened by the opponent, is either developing or attacking. And if you have a good attacking idea, you can usually just play it, and if you don't, developing is usually the way to go. Which, I mean, chess is so simple when you think about it that way, but that really does cover almost every move you could make in chess. Either respond to a threat, or attack, or develop. It's really that simple. I mean, it's kind of mind-blowing that chess can be that simple, but it really is the case when you learn this system. Now here, black, rook fb8. What is the idea? Well, pressuring b2. Therefore, I must respond. King c2. Simple stuff. Now black, e5. What is the threat? Well, black is sort of loosening his pawns for no reason. Do I have a good counter threat? Well, it turns out taking on e5 wins a pawn like this if I want it. So what do? I take on e5. I have a good attacking idea, therefore I play it. D takes, F takes. And now here, if I were to capture on e5, I do lose the a pawn, which is a little bit annoying. So instead, I simply go rook to d1, sliding over with the rook, trying to control the d file and so on. Now black here, c3. What is the threat? Obviously, capturing on b2 is the threat. Therefore, I must respond, and I do play the move knight takes c3 like this. Now black, rook b6. Again, what's the threat? There is no threat. Therefore, can I attack? Turns out, yes, I can. Rook d5 looks very good, pressuring e5, and black doesn't have an easy defense. So, what do? The simple, obvious developing idea and attacking idea, rook d5. And by the way, when you have a chance in chess to develop and attack at the same time, that is almost always a good idea. For example, here, developing, sort of, but also attacking, it's just a no-brainer move here for white. Now black, rook g6. What's the threat? Targeting g2. What do? We defend. G3. Simple. Black. Rook h6. What's the threat? Targeting h2. Is that a big deal? Yes, it is. Therefore, h4. Defense. Simple stuff. Black. Rook c6. What's the threat? Well, he's pinning this piece, but it's not that big of a threat yet. So what do? Well, do we have a good attacking idea? Well, it turns out we do. The pawn on e5 is hanging. Therefore, we take it. Rook takes. Simple stuff. Rook to f8. What's the threat? The threat here is F2. What do? F4. Are you getting the picture? I mean, this really is how simple chess can be when you use the attack or develop system, which is number one, what is the opponent's threat? If there isn't one, either attack or develop. And if I'm sounding redundant right now, it's on purpose because this idea, if you can learn this one idea, it will literally change the way you play online chess. Trust me about that. Anyways, black, rook A8. What's the threat? Well, there is no threat. A3 is covered. Therefore, I can kind of do whatever I want. And my attacking idea here might be, for example, pushing this pawn down the board ASAP. And we are sort of getting away from the main focus of the game being the middle game and whatnot. So let's blitz through these moves here a little faster. But, you know, E4, H5, pushing the pawns. Black attacks my pawn H5. I take, black takes, G5, locking down. And I will sort of blitz through these moves. They're not as important anymore. But again, black threatens a pawn. What do? I defend the pawn. Simple stuff. I mean, chess really can be that simple. Rook H3 threatens C3. What do? I defend. Simple stuff. Defensive idea. I mean, it's not complicated. Rook H2, A5, attacking on the queen side. Rook H7, Rook D5, and so on. And, you know, chess really is as simple as, like, what's the threat? Oh, the threat is taking on D2. What do? We defend and then attack. It's very, very simple. So, rook A6, knight C3, king E7, knight D5. It's the king D8, knight E3, rook C6, king D3, rook A6, knight C4. Slowly, I'm pressing in this game a little bit. Rook G2. And by the way, bots in the endgame are actually very, very tough, if you ask me. I'm not the best endgame player ever, but these bots in the endgame are actually very hard to kind of like win against, essentially. Rook B4, king C8, rook B5. And from here, I'm just trying to slowly find a way to attack something. And I find the idea of rook to B5, then E5, then E7, then F7, and then F6. And the idea is, if black takes here, I take back, and suddenly these pawns are almost unstoppable here in the endgame. So that is the idea. King B7, rook E7, rook G3, king D4, rook C6, rook F7. Again, the idea here, rook F6, rook to H3, rook F6, black goes back, rook to H8. I simply trade here, rook takes, king takes, and then F5, pushing my pawns. And from here, it's really more of an endgame kind of finish here, but let's see how it goes. I push the pawns sooner or later, yada, yada, yada. Here's the finish. I lose a piece, but doesn't matter. I'm too far advanced. And from there, I promote and finish the game off versus this chess bot like this. So anyways, the main point of the video is if you want to win at online chess and actually skyrocket your online rating, you must have a thinking system. This is simply the single thing you can do to improve your chess the fastest with the least amount of effort and while enjoying the game so much more. It's just having a simple thinking system. And personally, I love the idea of attack or develop. The first thing you do, as always, what is the opponent's threat? If they have a threat, respond to it. That can be an offensive idea, it can be a counterattack, but whatever you do, you must respond to the threat. If they don't have a threat, then you either say attack or develop. If you have a good attacking idea, play it. If you don't, develop. And that can mean bringing out more pieces into the game. It could mean castling. It could mean taking your worst place piece, finding a better square for it, and so on. To me, it's simply an improved version of the old CCTO, checks, captures, threats, optimizations. To me, attack or develop is just so much easier. And all my students in my free online community say the same thing. It's simply a faster, easier, simpler version of the old CCTO. And if you can learn this system, this one strategy, your rating will explode in online chess, I guarantee it. And by the way, if you want to learn directly from me and learn how I use my thinking system to reach 2,000 ELO and how my students are doing the same thing right now, go to drmikechess.com. It is my free online course / coaching program / community where you have effectively everything you need to improve and dominate at online chess. I have all the courses you need, all the coaching you need, all the support you need, the community you need. Everything you need is literally there in one place. And by the way, right now, on October 1st, we're launching a new 30-day chess challenge. Everyone who joins is welcome to join at any time. For the whole month of October, we have a big challenge where we have 9 different winners in 3 categories, and the winners get these insane prizes like memberships to chess.com, memberships to my future paid coaching program, which is launching very, very soon, private one-on-one calls with me. I mean, some insane prizes, and we're having like 9 different winners in 3 different categories. If you want to get in on the action for that, it's free to join. Go to drmikechess.com. I'll see you there. And as always, I wish you the best of luck in your chess improvement journey in 2025 and beyond. And God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.